The alien girl sat at her station, eyes half closed, her fingers tapping the console with no excitement. The radar screen was always empty, only the usual static, only the same silent readings. It was a boring duty, but she had no choice. The elders assigned her here, far away from the real action. They thought she was too young, too inexperienced, too weak, but she liked the silence. The stars outside the station windows looked peaceful, glittering like silver dust on dark velvet. She often wondered if life out there was different, if there were other voices, other hearts, maybe even other truths. Her people always said no. The galaxy belonged to them alone. Humans, they said, were not real, just a myth, a story to scare children. Her people told legends of humans, strange creatures of flesh and bone, tall and strong, wild and dangerous. They were said to fight until the last breath, to burn worlds if they must, but that was long ago. No one had seen them, no one believed they were real. Now humans were only whispers of the past. The alien girl believed those words too until the screen in front of her blinked. A red flash lit up, sharp and sudden. A signal appeared on her radar. At first she thought it was a system error, maybe dust, maybe a ghost reflection. She leaned forward, adjusting the dials, her hands shaking slightly. The signal did not vanish. Instead, it grew stronger, pulsing, steadily like a heartbeat. Her chest tightened, her large, dark eyes widened. The shape on the screen was no design she had ever seen before, not from her people's fleets, not from any ally or rival. The lines of the ship were strange, rough, and powerful. The energy reading was old, ancient even, but strong. She whispered to herself, "This cannot be real." For a moment she tried to calm her thoughts. She told herself it was just a sensor glitch, nothing more. But deep inside, something stirred, a memory of the old stories. Her heart raced as she remembered the word her people feared, the word they buried, humans. She pressed her comm button quickly, calling to the control room. Her voice shook. "Commander, I have detected something unusual. A vessel, unknown design, unknown energy signature." Static filled the channel for a second. Then the commander's bored voice replied, "Unknown ships appear all the time. Probably a pirate craft or a broken satellite. Ignore it, girl." "No, sir," she said quickly, her voice rising. "This is different. It doesn't match any record. It feels wrong." The commander laughed. The sound was cold. "Do not waste our time with ghost tales. Finish your shift, and do not speak of this again." The channel cut off. Her hands trembled as she looked back at the radar. The signal was still there, stronger now, moving closer. It was not a ghost, not a broken satellite. It was real. She bit her lip, fear and excitement mixing in her chest. If the elders discovered she was chasing this signal, they might punish her. But if she ignored it, she would never know. Her eyes locked on the glowing mark. "Who are you?" she whispered. "What are you?" The ship's signal pulsed again, as if answering her. She remembered one forbidden story her grandmother once whispered before the elders silenced her. "Humans are not gone, child. They sleep in the dark, waiting. One day they will return. And when they do, the galaxy will shake again." Was this the day? The girl's skin prickled. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought it might burst. She leaned closer to the screen, sweat on her brow. For the first time in her life, she felt small, standing at the edge of something far bigger than her world. If this was truly a human ship, then everything her people taught was a lie. Humans were not just myths, they were real. She had two choices. She could close her eyes, obey her commander, and forget. Or she could follow the signal, break every rule, and face the truth. Her finger hovered over the button, her breath shook. The radar pinged again, louder, faster, closer. A whisper slipped from her lips. This signal should not exist. The light on the screen glowed brighter, like a warning, or a promise. And then, for just a second, a faint voice broke through the static on her comms. A deep, human voice, rough and heavy with distance. "This is Captain Reyes of the Earthship Dauntless. We come in peace." Her blood ran cold. She froze in her seat. Every story, every myth, every whisper rushed back into her mind. The humans were real, and they had found her. The girl could not sleep that night. Her mind played the voice again and again. "This is Captain Reyes of the Earthship Dauntless. We come in peace." The words echoed inside her head like thunder. She tried to convince herself it was only static, an error, a trick of her tired brain. But she knew better. It was real. Humans. She wrapped her arms around herself as she walked. Through the quiet halls of the station, the others laughed at her earlier report. They told her she was hearing ghosts. They told her she was too young, too foolish. But she could not ignore what she heard. Her heart refused to let it go. The next morning, the elders called a private meeting. She was summoned. Her knees shook as she stepped into the council chamber. The room was cold and filled with tall figures dressed in heavy robes. Their glowing eyes studied her, sharp and cruel. "You spoke of a ship," one elder said, his voice dry like dust. "Repeat what you claimed." She swallowed hard. The radar picked up an unknown vessel. It carried an energy signature unlike ours, and I heard a voice. It identified itself as human. The chamber went silent. For a moment, no one moved. Then the elders burst into low murmurs, angry whispers that filled the air. One slammed his staff against the floor. "Lies. Humans do not exist. They are old shadows. Burned away. Long ago." Her hands shook. "I heard them. I heard him. He said his name. He said..." "Enough," another elder hissed. "Do not speak of this again. You are young, you imagine things. You let myths poison your mind." She lowered her head, but inside her chest burned with defiance. She knew what she heard. It was not a dream, not an echo. Still, she dared to ask, if they were never real, why do the old records speak of them? Why do our archives hide locked files? The elders' faces stiffened. Their eyes turned cold. "Child," the eldest said slowly, "humans were stories created by frightened tribes long ago. They were used to teach obedience, that is all. But the way he said it, the way his hands gripped the staff tighter, the way the others avoided her eyes, it told her something different. They were hiding the truth." She left the chamber with her heart racing. Her people did not want her to believe. They feared the name human. That fear was too sharp, too real to be just myth. That night she returned to the radar room. She locked the door behind her. Her fingers moved quickly across the console. She dug into the hidden files, places the elders said were forbidden. Layers of code and locked archives flashed on her screen. Each file denied her, but she kept pressing. She was desperate. Finally, one file opened. Her breath caught in her throat. It was old, older than the station itself. The text was broken and faded, but the words were clear enough. The war of flesh and fire. Her eyes scanned the lines. The humans were not myths. They were enemies. They had fought against her people centuries ago. Entire fleets burned. Worlds turned to ash. But the records ended strangely. The last line said only, "The humans vanished into the dark." Her heart pounded. So it was true. They existed, they fought, and then they disappeared, but now one had returned. The screen flickered again. The radar showed the same signal, closer than before. The ship was still out there, waiting. Her hands trembled as she touched the glass. Why now? Why after so long? As if in answer, the comms crackled again. A faint voice, distorted by distance. "We seek contact, not war." Her breath shook. Tears pricked her eyes. The voice was tired, heavy but strong. It didn't sound like a monster. It didn't sound like the demons her people described. It sounded human. She closed her eyes and remembered her grandmother's whisper. One day they will return, and when they do, the galaxy will shake. A sudden knock on the door jolted her. "Open. At once," a guard's voice shouted. She panicked, quickly shutting the files. The door slid open. 2 guards stepped in, eyes suspicious. "The elders ordered us to watch you. You will not sit alone at this console again." Her stomach twisted. They feared her curiosity. They feared the truth. The guards sat behind her, their weapons resting across their laps. Their eyes followed her every move. She pretended to work normally, but inside, her thoughts burned brighter. The humans were not gone. They were not myths, and she had just uncovered the truth her entire people tried to bury. She glanced at the radar one last time. The signal pulsed steady, strong, patient. The humans were coming closer, and deep in her heart, she knew this was only the beginning. The alien girl sat in the radar room again, this time with her heart pounding louder than the hum of the machines. The guards still watched her, their eyes sharp. But tonight the room was quieter than usual. Outside the station windows, the stars burned bright, silent witnesses to something impossible. The signal pulsed again on her screen, steady, patient. A reminder that the humans were not ghosts. They were real, and they were waiting. The girl wanted to speak to them. She wanted to hear that voice again, the voice that sounded strong yet gentle. But with the guards behind her, it was impossible. If she spoke, they would report her. If she even looked curious, they would drag her away. Still, the desire burned inside her like fire. She could not forget his words. "We come in peace." Hours passed. The guards grew restless, yawning and muttering. At last, one of them leaned back and closed his eyes for a moment. The other checked his weapon lazily. That was her chance. Her fingers moved swiftly. Her hands trembled as she lowered the comms channel to a narrow beam, invisible on most scans. She whispered, "Unknown ship. Can you hear me?" Static answered first. Her breath caught. Then the deep voice returned, faint but clear. "Yes. This is Captain Reyes. Earthship Dauntless. Identify yourself." Her chest tightened. 1,000 emotions filled her. Fear, wonder, excitement. She whispered, "I am Lyra of the Orion Station. And you are human?" Silence. Then a soft laugh, low and tired, but real. "Yes, we are human, and we have traveled far to find you." Her lips parted in shock. Her people had told her humans were myths, monsters, shadows of war, yet here he was, alive, speaking gently. Why come back now?" she asked. Her voice shook. "My people say you were destroyed long ago." His voice grew serious. "We were never destroyed, Lyra. We endured, hidden, scattered across the dark. And now, we return not for war, but for truth." Her breath shook. Her heart told her to trust him, but her mind whispered warnings. If the guards discovered her speaking with a human, they would call her traitor. They would kill her. "Why trust me?" she asked. "I am nothing, just a low worker. My people will not listen, they fear you." Captain Reyes replied, firm and calm. "Because you listened. Because you were not afraid to answer. That is enough." Her hands clenched. She wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at her. Were humans really peaceful? Or was this a trap, a clever lie to get closer? Suddenly, the guard stirred. "What are you doing?" he asked sharply, standing up. She panicked, closing the channel in an instant. "Nothing," she said quickly. "Just recalibrating the radar, as ordered." The guard glared at her, suspicious, but after a moment, he sat down again. Her heart raced. Sweat covered her brow. But despite the fear, she felt a strange warmth inside. She had spoken to a human. For the first time in her life, she touched the truth. That night, sleep refused to come. She kept hearing his voice. She kept remembering the way he said her name, Lyra, like it mattered, like she mattered. The next day, she returned to the radar. The signal was even closer now. The human ship was no longer waiting in the far dark. It was approaching orbit. Her stomach twisted. If her people discovered it, they would attack. They would try to destroy what they feared. Her comm crackled suddenly, startling her. She glanced around. The guards were gone this shift. It was only her, alone. The human voice spoke again, stronger this time. "Lyra, can you hear me?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Yes, I hear you." There was silence for a long breath, then Captain Reyes said, We request safe passage. We do not come to harm. We only wish to meet face to face. Her throat went dry. Safe passage? If she granted it, she would be betraying her people. But if she refused, they might fire upon the humans. You don't understand, she whispered. My people hate your name. They buried your history. They call you demons. His reply was calm. And what do you believe, Lyra? She froze. What did she believe? She thought of the way her commanders sneered at her, the way the elders silenced the truth, and then she thought of his voice. Steady. Honest. I don't think you are a demon, she said softly, almost afraid of her own words. Then, meet me, Reyes said firmly. Not as enemies, but as allies, let us prove the myths wrong. Her breath shook. Could she do it? Could she defy everything she had been taught? The radar beeped again. A smaller signal detached from the larger ship, a shuttle. It was heading toward the station. Her hands trembled, sweat ran down her neck. She knew she should call the commander. She knew she should sound the alarm. But her heart whispered a different truth. This was her choice, her destiny. She locked a private docking bay, sending a hidden beacon. The shuttle changed its path and moved toward it. Moments later, the bay doors slid open. She stood frozen as the shuttle landed. Steam hissed from the vents. The door slowly opened. A figure stepped out, tall and broad, wrapped in worn armor. His face was scarred, his eyes sharp, but when they met hers, they softened. Lyra's breath caught. A human, real, standing before her. He gave a small nod, his voice low but steady. So, you are the one who answered me. Her heart pounded. She whispered, and you are the myth who should not exist. Yet here they were staring at each other. For the first time in centuries, alien and human met not in war, but in fragile silence. The docking bay was silent except for the slow hiss of air escaping the human shuttle. The girl's chest tightened as the tall figure stepped forward. His boots echoed softly against the metal floor. Every sound seemed too loud, too real. Lyra's breath trembled. For so long she had believed humans were shadows, myths, warnings to frighten children. Yet now one stood only a few steps away from her. The man removed his helmet. His face was weathered, scarred from battles long past. His eyes were sharp, but not cruel. Instead, there was warmth there, something she had never seen among her own people. He looked at her not with suspicion, not with hate, but with respect. You must be Lyra, he said quietly. His voice filled the chamber, strong and steady. She flinched at the sound, hearing it now with no static between them. It was human. It was alive. Yes, she whispered, her voice so soft she feared he would not hear. And you are Captain Reyes? He gave a short nod. I am. I came because you answered me. Without you, we would still be outside, only a signal on your screens. Her hands tightened against her sides. If anyone finds out, they will call me a traitor. Reyes studied her carefully. Why? Because you listened? Because you dared to believe we are real? Her throat ached. His words stung because they were true. Her people feared humans so much they buried the truth. They would rather kill her than accept she spoke with him. Still, she could not stop staring at him. He was different. Everything about him was strange, yet compelling. His broad frame, his calm eyes, even the way he stood, like someone ready to fight for her if danger appeared. Why are you here? She asked at last. Why risk coming back after so long? My people will not forgive this. They will not forgive you. Reyes's gaze darkened. Because lies cannot last forever. We were driven into the dark, but we endured. And now we return, not to conquer but to survive. The galaxy must know we are still here. Her chest tightened. The way he spoke carried weight. Like every word came from history itself, not just from one man, but she shook her head quickly. If the elders find you, they will order your death. They will destroy your ship. He gave a faint smile. Let them try. We are not as easy to kill as their stories say. His confidence startled her. It was not arrogance, but something deeper, an unshakable belief, a will forged from centuries of survival. For a long moment, they stood in silence. Only the faint hum of the station filled the air. Lyra felt, her heart racing. She wanted to ask more. She wanted to understand who these humans truly were. Then Reyes broke the silence. "Tell me, Lyra, do you believe what your elders say about us? That we are demons? That we only bring fire and death?" Her lips parted. Her voice was faint. "No, not anymore, you. You don't look like a demon." Something softened in his eyes. "Then maybe there is hope." But before she could reply, the docking bay alarm flashed red for a brief second. Lyra's stomach dropped. Someone had noticed. She quickly tapped the panel, forcing the system into silence, but she knew the alert had already traveled. Guards would come soon. They would find the shuttle. They would find him. Her pulse raced. "You must leave. Now," she hissed. "They will be here any moment." Reyes shook his head. "I did not come this far to run away. If they find me, then let them. I will not hide who I am." Her panic grew. She grabbed his wrist, her voice urgent. "Please, if they catch you here, they will kill us both." The human looked down at her hand, holding him. Then he nodded slowly. "Very well, but promise me this. You will not forget what you have seen tonight. You will remember that humans are real." Her eyes burned with emotion. "How could I forget? You are standing in front of me, breathing, speaking. You are the proof my people tried to erase." The sound of boots echoed in the distant corridor, growing louder. Guards were coming. Her time was gone. She bit her lip, desperation filling her chest. "Come with me, I know a way out, follow me." Without waiting, she pulled him into a narrow maintenance passage at the side of the bay. The human followed, moving silently despite his size. They slipped through the dim tunnels, the hum of machinery covering their steps. Her heart raced with fear, but also with something else, something strange. A feeling she did not understand. Why was she risking everything for this man she had just met? Behind them, voices shouted. Guards poured into the docking bay. They had discovered the empty shuttle. Lyra and Rhea slipped deeper into the station's forgotten corridors, hidden from sight. For the first time in centuries, human and alien walked side by side, not as enemies but as fugitives. She glanced up at him, whispering, "Why are you helping me? You should be saving yourself." Reyes looked down at her with calm eyes. "Because you helped me first, and humans. We never forget those who stand with us." Her chest tightened. A strange warmth filled her heart, even as danger closed in from every side. The sound of boots thundered through the corridors, shouts echoing as guards spread across the station. Lyra's heart pounded with every step. She led Reyes through the narrow maintenance tunnels, her hands trembling as she pressed open panels and forced doors. Behind them, the voices grew louder. The elders had discovered the human shuttle. They knew someone had helped it dock. Reyes moved quickly despite his heavy armor. His eyes stayed sharp, scanning every shadow. He did not complain. He did not slow. Instead, he followed her without hesitation, trusting her completely. Her chest burned with fear, but also with something strange. No one had ever trusted her like this before. Not her commanders, not the elders. But this human did. After only a few words, a blast shook the wall beside them. Sparks rained down. Lyra screamed. Reyes pulled, her close, shielding her with his body as another shot struck the corridor. "Go!" he barked. His voice was firm, but not cruel. She stumbled forward, her legs shaking. They ran deeper into the station, alarms screaming around them. More guards appeared ahead, weapons raised. There, the traitor, with the human. Her stomach dropped. They would not just kill him. They would kill her too. Reyes stepped in front of her, his stance firm. His hand lifted a strange weapon, not sleek like her people's rifles, but heavy and scarred. With use, he fired. The corridor shook with the thunder of human firepower. The guards scattered, some falling, others retreating. Lyra's eyes widened. Her people had told her humans were weak, but Reyes moved like a storm, strong and unshaken. He fought not for glory but to protect her. She pulled his arm. This way. They darted into another tunnel, lights flickering above. Her lungs burned as she ran, her mind screamed with fear. Yet her heart whispered something different. Humans were not demons. Humans were not myths. They were warriors. Warriors who shielded others with their own strength. Behind them, the guards regrouped. Their voices filled the air. Seal the exits. Do not let them escape. Reyes glanced at her, his voice steady. They want you too, don't they? Her throat tightened. She nodded weakly. Yes. They will call me a traitor. They will never forgive me. Reyes's expression softened for a moment, even as the chaos raged. Then you're not running alone anymore. Her chest ached at his words. She had never felt so afraid, and yet so protected. They reached an old cargo bay, dust thick on the floor, broken crates stacked in shadows. Here, she gasped. No one comes here anymore, we can hide. They slipped inside, crouching behind a wall of containers. Her hands shook as she tried to catch her breath. Sweat ran down her face. Her entire world was collapsing. Reyes crouched beside her, his voice low. Your people fear us, but why? What lies did they tell you? Her eyes burned. They said you were monsters. They said you destroyed whole worlds. They said you vanished because you could not survive. Reyes shook his head slowly. The truth is different. We fought, yes, but we fought to live, not to conquer, and when we were hunted to the edge of extinction, we endured. That is what humans do. We endure. Lyra's heart raced, his words cut deep. She thought of the hidden files, the elders' angry faces, the fear in their voices when she mentioned humans. It was not him who lied, it was them. The bay doors suddenly burst open. Guards poured inside, their weapons raised. Lyra's breath caught. Reyes pulled her behind him, standing tall. His voice was calm, but fierce. Stay low. The firefight began. Explosions shook the bay. Blasts lit the air. Reyes moved like a shield, taking every shot meant for her. His weapon roared, forcing the guards back, but there were too many. They were being surrounded. Her mind screamed in panic. We cannot win, she cried. Reyes's eyes burned with fire. Maybe not, but we will not bow, not now, not ever. Her chest tightened. She saw it now, the fire her people feared. But it was not evil. It was strength. It was survival. Still more guards came. Their voices filled the air. Kill the human, take the girl alive. Her stomach twisted. If they captured her, the elders would silence her forever. Reyes looked at her quickly, his eyes sharp but steady. There must be another way out, think? Her mind raced. Then she remembered. An old ventilation shaft. At the far side of the bay, small and forgotten, she grabbed his arm. This way. They ran through the smoke and chaos, blasts striking the walls, sparks showered over them. Her lungs burned, her ears rang. The shaft loomed ahead, narrow and dark. She climbed in first, squeezing through. Her hands scraped against the metal. Her heart thundered. Reyes followed, his broad frame barely fitting. The sound of his armor scraping echoed in the tunnel, but he pushed forward without hesitation. Behind them, guards shouted. Blasts struck the shaft walls, but the human's thick frame shielded her as they crawled deeper. At last they tumbled out into another hidden corridor, gasping for breath, covered in dust and sweat. Lyra collapsed to her knees, trembling. We cannot keep running forever. Reyes crouched beside her, his voice low but firm. Then we stop. Running, we find the truth and we show it to the galaxy. Her eyes met his. In that moment, she knew her life would never be the same. The elders had lied, her people had betrayed her, and now, her only ally was the human they feared most. The alarms still blared through the station. The hunt was far from over, but for the first time, she did not feel alone. The hidden corridor was quiet, only the sound of their breathing filling the air. Lyra leaned against the wall, her chest rising and falling in panic. Sweat ran down her face, her hands trembling. For the first time, she had seen her own people call her traitor. For the first time, she had run not from enemies outside, but from the ones she had grown up trusting. Reyes knelt beside her. His scarred face looked calm, but his eyes held something heavy, a weight she could not name. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small device, worn and cracked. He pressed a button, and the hologram flickered to life. Blue light filled the corridor, forming images of old battles, ships burning in space, soldiers fighting on broken worlds. Lyra gasped. She knew these shapes. These were records her people always denied existed. This, Reyes said quietly, is the truth they buried from you. Lyra's heart pounded as she stared at the images. They were not stories. They were history. The war between her people and the humans was real. Her lips trembled. But the elders said you started the war. They said you came to destroy us. Reyes shook his head. His voice was steady. No, Lyra. We were explorers, just like you. We came to trade, to learn, to live among the stars. But your leaders feared us. They saw us as wild, dangerous because we refused to kneel. They struck first. The hologram shifted, alien fleets firing on human colonies, worlds turning red with fire, children screaming as they were dragged from the ruins. Lyra covered, her mouth, tears forming in her eyes. No, she whispered. That cannot be true, my people. They would not. Reyes's eyes softened. I wish it was a lie, but it isn't. We fought back because we had no choice, but we were fewer, weaker in numbers, and when the war ended, they called us myths so the galaxy would forget we ever lived. The words cut her deeper than any blade. Her chest hurt as if her entire life was shattering. She thought of the elders' eyes, the way they silenced her questions, the way they punished anyone who spoke of humans. Now she knew why. Lyra pressed her hands against her head, shaking. All this time, they lied to us. They made us believe you were monsters, but it was them. They were the monsters. Reyes placed a hand on her shoulder. His grip was firm, grounding her. Not all of your people are monsters, Lyra. Some were only afraid. Some wanted peace but were silenced, just like you. She stared at him, her tears shining in the dim light. He was her enemy. He was the myth her people had feared for centuries. And yet, in this moment, he was the only one who told her the truth. Her voice broke. Why tell me this? Why risk showing me? Reyes looked at her, his scarred face softened by the light. Because the galaxy cannot live in lies forever. You are proof that someone among your people still listens. If you understand, maybe others will too. Her heart ached. His words planted a seed inside her. A dangerous seed, but also one filled with hope. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the corridor. Guards were searching again. Their voices drew closer. Lyra panicked. They will find us. We cannot stay here. Reyes quickly shut down the hologram and stood tall. Then we move, but remember what you saw. Even if I fall, do not forget. Her chest tightened at those words. She realized something. He was not only fighting to survive, he was fighting so the truth would not die with him. They slipped into another maintenance shaft, crawling through the tight space. The air smelled of dust and oil. Every sound echoed. Lyra's heart hammered as she heard boots above them, guards shouting orders. As they crawled, her thoughts churned. The lies of her people felt like chains breaking apart. She had lived her whole life in fear of shadows. And yet here was the truth. Humans were not demons. They were survivors. They were fighters. They were real. Reyes's voice carried softly through the tunnel. Do you know why humans endured, Lyra? Because no matter what, we protect each other. That is what makes us human. She glanced back at him, his broad frame nearly filling the shaft, his scarred hands gripping the metal, his eyes steady even now. He had risked everything, not just for himself, but for her. Her heart whispered something she did not want to say aloud. Perhaps her people were wrong to fear humans. Perhaps it was not hate they should have felt, but respect. At last they dropped down into another chamber, old and forgotten. The lights flickered weakly. Machines sat broken and silent. It was a place no one visited anymore. Lyra sat on the floor, her legs weak. She looked at Reyes, her voice trembling. What will happen now? Even if I believe you, my people never will. They will hunt you until you are gone. They will hunt me too. Reyes crouched in front of her. His voice was calm, but there was fire in it. Then we fight, not with lies, but with truth. If your people fear us, let them see we are not their demons. If they want war again, let them see we do not bow. And if they want peace, then maybe, just maybe, they will find it. Her chest rose and fell. His words struck something inside her she had never felt before. Hope mixed with courage. For the first time, she thought maybe humans were not the end of her people. Maybe they were the beginning of something new. But outside the chamber, the alarm still screamed. The hunt had not ended. The elders would never stop. Lyra looked at him, her eyes burning. If we are caught, they will kill us both. Reyes's eyes did not waver. Then we make sure we are not caught. The abandoned chamber shook as the alarms screamed through. The station. Red lights flashed across the walls. The hunt was closing in. Lyra could already hear the pounding of boots echoing in the corridors outside. The elders would stop at nothing. They would not allow the truth to live. Reyes stood tall, beside her, his weapon steady in his scarred hands. His sharp eyes stayed fixed on the sealed doors. They are coming, he said calmly. His voice carried no fear, only certainty. Lyra's heart raced. She wanted to run, but her legs would not move. Fear clawed at her chest, but when she looked at the human standing like a wall between her and death, something inside her shifted. For all her life, her people had told her humans were monsters, yet here he was, ready to bleed for her, a stranger, but also the only one who believed in her. The chamber doors exploded open. Guards stormed inside. Their weapons glowed, their armor shining in the red light. "Seize the traitor! Kill the human!" they shouted. Reyes fired first, the chamber shaking with thunder. Guards scattered, taking cover. The air filled with smoke and fire. Sparks showered from broken lights. Lyra screamed as blasts struck near her. She ducked low, but Reyes pulled her behind him. Shielding her with his own body, he returned fire, each shot fierce and unyielding. His stance was solid, like a mountain refusing to fall, but there were too many. The guards pressed closer, more pouring through the door. Then a voice boomed through. The station's comms, the voice of the eldest elder, cold and furious. "Lyra of Orion, you shame your people. You bring death to us all by siding with that creature. Step aside now, and we will show mercy. Refuse, and you will die with him." Lyra's chest heaved, her whole body shook, the elder's voice pressed heavy against her heart. For a moment, doubt clawed at her. Could she survive this? Could she really defy her entire people? Reyes glanced at her through the smoke. His eyes burned steady. "This is your choice, Lyra, not mine, yours." Her throat tightened. She remembered the hologram he showed her, the hidden truth of the war, the lies of her elders. She remembered the way they laughed at her, the way they silenced her, the way they feared even the mention of humans. And then she looked at him, the man her people called a demon, but who had only shielded her, only trusted her, only spoken truth to her. Her heart made the choice before her mind could stop it. Stood her small frame rising from behind the crates, her voice rang out clear through the chamber. "No, he is not our enemy. You lied to us. You buried the truth because you feared it." The guards froze for a moment, shocked at her defiance. Their weapons hesitated. The elder's voice roared, "Silence, child. You know nothing." But she did. She knew everything now. She stepped closer to Reyes, standing beside him. Her voice trembled but carried strength. "If you call him a monster, then I will stand with the monster, because he has shown me more honor than you ever did." The silence that followed cut deeper than any blast. Even the guards faltered, confusion in their eyes. Reyes lowered his weapon slowly, just enough to show he was not here to slaughter them. His voice rumbled through the smoke. "We are not myths. We are not demons, we are human, and we will endure." The words hung in the air like a spark. Lyra's chest swelled. She felt it. The shift. The breaking of chains inside her heart. For the first time she was free. The guards did not move. Some looked uncertain. Some lowered their weapons slightly. For centuries they had feared the word human, and now one stood alive before them, not as a conqueror but as a man willing to stand beside one of their own. The elder's voice hissed again through the comms, furious. "Seize them! Obey your order!" But the hesitation remained. The lies of centuries had cracked, and in that crack, truth shone like light. Reyes placed his hand out slowly, not in command, but in offering. His voice was low but carried strength. "Lyra, come with me, not as my prisoner, not as my enemy, but as my ally." Her heart ached. She reached out, her hand trembling, then she placed it in his. Her people gasped. Two figures, human and alien, stood hand in hand against the storm of fear. Lyra's voice shook, but she said it anyway. "You told us humans were gone. You told us they were myths. But they are here, and I will not deny them. I will not deny him." The chamber filled with silence, broken only by the alarms. In that moment, a new legend was born, not of war, not of hate, but of courage. The courage of a girl who chose truth over lies and a human who refused to bow. The guards slowly lowered their weapons, uncertain. Some exchanged glances, as if the seeds of doubt had finally reached them too. Reyes tightened his grip on her hand, his scarred face calm. "The galaxy feared us for centuries, Lyra, but now they will see what happens when we stand together." Her chest swelled with something fierce. For the first time in her life, she was not afraid. The alarm still blared. The war was not over. But as she stood beside him, she knew one thing. No matter what came next, she would not face it alone, and the galaxy would never be the same again.